Hello and welcome to your virtual teaching kitchen. I'm Chef Marissa Riffle and this is?
I'm Paige Wagner.
So we'd like to thank the members of SMART for asking us to do a Taste of February with them for this month and being a part of your celebration. Today you selected to do banana pudding, which is a great Southern classic recipe. And so we are going to give you two different versions today. Some of you have gotten a box, and that is the instant version. And then any of you that are joining us at home can follow along and do the scratch-made pudding version with us. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over all the ingredients for the scratch-made. So we have sugar and cornstarch, sweetened condensed milk, eggs, milk, butter, and whipped cream, vanilla wafers, and bananas. And then Paige is going to go over the items for the instant.
Yep, so this is what you will have in your box, so you can easily make it in your dorm. So we have just a bowl to mix everything. We have some instant pudding mix, some milk, some sweetened condensed milk, a little bit of vanilla, some vanilla wafers, and then whipped cream and a banana.
And like normal, if you've ever joined me for a video before, I forgot a couple of things. I am famous for doing that. So I also have a little salt and a little vanilla myself. So the first thing we're going to do is the two eggs are actually going to go in the pudding mix, but we are going to separate them first. And I just want to have those separated so they're ready to go when the mixture gets hot enough. How you separate an egg is you want to tap it on the side of your bowl. You're going to need two bowls for this. Pull it apart. And I'm not going to lie, it's hard to do it with a cut glove on.
Yeah, it does. I don't remember making pudding growing up ever having eggs in it. Is
Yep.
that pretty traditional?
If you make a scratch-made pudding, yes, it's very traditional.
Huh. Learn something new every day.
Same thing with this egg. Now, another way to separate your egg, because you're trying to get the whites away. There we go. Another way you can do it is you can use your hands. I will tell you that a lot of bakers don't like to use their hands, because what you do is you crack the egg and put it in your hand and just kind of let the whites with gravity flow through your hands. A lot of bakers don't like to do that because of the oils on your hands. For this recipe,
okay.
I don't think it would be an issue, but that's just one of the things. Now, I'm just going to beat these a little bit, and as you can see, I took a wet towel.
And you're doing the yolks, right?
Yes, I'm just doing the yolks, so the egg whites you can set off to the side. I'll talk about those a little later. But if you want to do this at home and you're all by yourself, take a towel, a wet towel. You can even do a dry towel. Spin it like this, if I can spin it. There we go. And then your bowl sits right in there. So now you don't have to have anybody helping you because you can do it one-handed, because you'll see why later. And then you just want to whip your eggs a little bit.
We've been working together for like 3 years, and I've never seen her do that trick. I'm mind blown.
It's always fun when you get to teach somebody something new. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, the pan might be a little too hot, but we're going over a medium heat. We're going to take our sugar, our cornstarch, the salt. I am just going to do a little pinch of salt. Your recipe that you have will say 1/8 of a teaspoon. I just do a little pinch.
Do you do kosher or iodized?
This one I use kosher.
Okay.
And then I am going to take and slowly whip in the milk. My pan was a little too hot. So make sure for something like this, you don't want to get your pan too hot. You don't want to get it hot before you put the sugar in. I only did that for camera because I wanted to make sure the pan was hot enough. And then what you want to do, you can hear that that's the sugar you're hearing.
Yep.
Because my pan was hot, it crystallized a little bit. That's why I'm getting that noise. I'm trying to get it softened up. All right. While this is happening, I'm going to stir it every once in a while. And what I'm going to do next is in your recipe, this isn't part of the cooking of the pudding. This is what's going to come later on. But you'll see in the recipe it calls for whipped cream. So you can, if you don't want to use heavy cream and you want to go use Cool Whip,
Yep.
you can do that. Make your life easier, and that way you can do it in your dorm room that way too. But today I'm going to show you, so this is heavy whipping cream. I'm going to pour that in a bowl. And always make sure it's nice and cold when you go to whip it. It whips much better that way. Don't forget about your pudding off to the side. Now, you do not have to do this by hand. You can use a mixer with a wire whip on it. And then what you're going to do, and I will be honest, we are not going to stand here and whip this the whole time because we'll be here for quite some time.
It'll be a 45-minute video. That could have been a 5-minute
You'll get really
video.
bored watching me whip it. But you're going to whip it. You can start to see it. It's foaming. The more you whip it, it's going to start to form these little soft peaks. Once it forms the little soft peaks, you want to take a little bit of powdered sugar. I'm going to turn my heat up a little bit. You're going to take a little bit of powdered sugar and you're going to sprinkle that in there. Now I'm going to tell you, this is a personal thing for me. Anybody that got the box, if you taste that whipped cream, it's not going to be really sweet because I think the banana pudding itself is really sweet.
It balances out perfectly.
So, but that is up to you. If you like things super, super sweet, add a little extra powdered sugar in here. Otherwise, keep it on the more neutral side. All right, so that's how, magic, voila, that's what your whipped cream is going to look like. All right, so what Paige is going to do is she's going to get her pudding started.
All right, so we have our instant pudding mix, and realistically, I mean, you could use any flavor you wanted.
You could.
We're doing vanilla.
Yep.
And personally, if it were me making this just for myself, I might even use chocolate because I think chocolate and banana goes together perfectly. You could even maybe change your wafers to some chocolate wafers. You can easily make it your own. So we're just gonna put our milk and our pudding mix into the bowl and start whipping it. And I do personally think that Marissa's version it's always more tasty when it's homemade, right? We always love homemade stuff a lot.
I think so.
But this is still good when you're in a pinch. And I'm a firm believer, even though I'm a dietitian, everything in moderation. So don't be afraid to enjoy some sweets. It's nothing bad. If you were someone who is maybe looking to make this a little healthier, instead of doing pudding, you could always layer in like Greek yogurt. You could add in more fruit instead of your wafers. Or if you're lactose intolerant, you can always substitute out different milks. It may not always set the same.
It'd be pretty close. I think if you use almond milk or soy milk, you're going to get a better consistency. Rice milk seems to be is a little thinner, so I'm not sure that you're going to get the same consistency.
Yeah, rice milk is usually very watery. I've also had really good luck substituting oat milk. Oat milk is pretty thick, and I think it's very delicious. So if you're lactose intolerant, that's something you could do. There are plenty of dairy-free pudding mixes out there now, too, that you could easily purchase. I think we're looking pretty good,
Yep,
Chef.
I think if you just want to leave it sit, because now I'm at the point where I'm ready to do the next step. So what happens is, I'm not sure, you will see that your milk starts to get thicker. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. But it's going to start to get thicker, and as it gets thicker and it comes to a boil, once it starts to boil, which is about where I'm at right now, you're going to boil it for about a minute. So it's very important that we need that cornstarch to activate. So you want to, when it hits that boiling point, you want to boil it for at least a minute so we get it thickened.
You can smell the sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Even with masks on, we can smell it.
Once again, Paige and I wish there was smell-o-vision, that you could smell what we're doing too. But hopefully everything's going good for you in your process. All right. So now I have the eggs sitting here. So what we need to do next is what we call temper. I don't want to take those eggs and dump it right into that hot mixture because you know what'll happen?
They'll start to cook, won't they?
That's right. I'll have like little strings of cooked egg yolk in there. So I want to take that egg yolk and bring it to almost the same temperature as my pudding mixture. So I'm going to take, and make sure you're whipping while you do this, and we're going to slowly pour in. If you prefer, you could actually take a ladle and ladle it in that way, so that way you don't get the pudding all down the side. So you just put it in your ladle and you slowly pour it that way. And as you can see, I've got it like a nice little lemony kind of color. Now we're going to whip it back into here, into the hot milk mixture. And it won't take it but probably a minute It's boiling again.
You said it's called tempering?
Temper. You always want to temper it.
See, still learning new things every single day. I don't think we've ever cooked pudding together for me
Nope,
to know
I don't
some
think
of
we
this.
have. So, I am actually at a really good spot here. You can see it. It's nice and thick. When I pull my whip up, it makes like little marks. You can make little drawings in your pudding, and it'll stay there for a second. You're at the right spot. So what I want to do next is I want to take my vanilla. I'm going to pour my vanilla in there.
Should I go ahead and do that on my side?
Yep, you can go ahead and do that on your side.
I love vanilla.
And then I'm going to take my butter, and the butter is a nice finisher. It'll give that nice satiny look to it, nice richness, and I'm going to whip that butter in there.
Oh, smells so good.
All right, and hopefully you can see what we have.
And then
We have pudding. It was that simple to make pudding.
do we do our sweetened condensed milk?
So what we're going to do now is, if you're making the scratch-made version, what you would do next is pour it into kind of a 2-inch pan, so that when it cools, it has more of a surface area to cool. It's not so dense. It won't take it as long. And then you're going to take a piece of parchment paper or wax paper and lay over top, because as that milk, as that pudding starts to cool, if you don't have anything on top of there, you're going to get that skin. It looks just like skin on top of it.
Yeah.
So if you put that parchment or some wax paper over the top, put it in the fridge and let it cool.
Cool. Huh, cool, let it cool.
And then, obviously this is a pudding I made and had cooled. It looks, it's a little thinner than.
I was gonna say, but it's like more fluffy almost.
Yeah. It's, to be honest, that, you should taste it side by side. This is a lot richer, a lot creamier. I don't know, it just has.
Yeah, as you
Instant
say.
is great, don't get me wrong, because I am not one to not use instant pudding when I'm in a hurry to make something. It has its place and it's great that way. But if you have a chance to make homemade pudding, I would do so.
Always try it, for sure.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to mix in our sweetened condensed milk. Now, this might not be a tradition for a lot of people. I think this, if you have never put sweetened condensed milk in your banana pudding, you've been missing out. I think this just adds another layer to it.
Yeah, I feel like you can't go wrong adding sweetened condensed milk to anything.
Well, that's true.
Well, I mean, most things.
Yeah, my pudding's a little on the thinner side today. And then after that, we're going to take our whipped cream that we've already made, but we're only going to put half of it in here. So when you go to add this whipped cream, Paige, do you know what not to do?
You don't want to stir it all up, you want to fold it, right?
That is exactly right.
I knew
And
it.
what we mean by folding is exactly that. You're going to take it down the side of your bowl, fold your pudding over top of it. And you're just going to keep doing that till it gets all mixed together. If you would go and you would whip it like Paige said, or beat it in there, then you're going to lose all the air in your whipped cream, and you don't want to lose that precious air, because that's the best part of it.
So it makes it so light and fluffy.
That's right. So is banana pudding one of your favorite Pages, or you?
It's actually not. I'm not a big pudding person, but I'm a chocolate girl. So if I'm gonna have chocolate pudding, I want it like dirt pudding, where you do, you know, the Oreos and then the chocolate and like more chocolate, and then why not more chocolate and then whipped cream?
So
What about you?
Well, I will tell you, I went to culinary school in Charleston, South Carolina, and then I lived in Atlanta, Georgia for quite a few years. And I quickly learned you love banana pudding. When you are in the South, because what's great is when you make banana pudding, it makes these large bowls, or you have lots of it. And that's what being in the South is about. It's always the hospitality, and it's lots and lots of family, and lots of friends get together. So it's a great way to share that dish with everybody.
Now that you bring it up, so now that I think about it, we have this tradition in my family. My mom's maiden name is Bibler, and we always call it the Bibler banana salad. And it is not a family reunion unless you do it. And it's almost kind of like this pudding drizzle, but it's bananas, and then it's like caramelized peanuts and stuff on top. And then you serve it in a huge bowl, and it's literally, we do not get together unless that's being served.
So there you go.
Christmas, summertime, you name it, it's always there. But yeah, it is something about that homemade feeling and family traditions
Yes.
too that make it.
And that is what the South is about, is traditions. So, like I said, I learned very quickly. I love banana pudding.
I will learn to love it.
All right, so Paige is going to do one version because if you have boxes, in your boxes, you've got 2 little empty containers. This should be enough to make 2. It's up to you if you want to stack it as high as you want to stack it. But I'm going to show you the version of if you had a bowl or we're going to serve it for your family, we'll do it that way. Before I forget though, I'm going to need to cut the bananas. So let me get this out of the way so you can see. Just going to take the tips off there. Peel it.
And I do think I'll enjoy it more than I think. I'm someone who, I have to have bananas like in something or on something. I don't like eating bananas by themselves.
I don't care for eating bananas by themselves. You know what I really don't like? Fake banana flavor.
Oh, I'm the same way. Like banana suckers or any, I don't think it tastes anything like bananas.
No, I don't think it does
Kind
either.
of like strawberry flavoring things too. Like I would
Yeah.
much rather just eat the fruit.
Okay, so 2 options for you. In the bowl, you might want to actually dice your bananas since it's a smaller surface area. So we're just gonna, here we go. Cut the banana in half, half again, half again. If you're wondering, I have a cut glove on. A cut glove, if you are, is a safety precaution so that if my knife slips, that hits my glove and not my hand, because we don't want banana hand pudding.
Yep. And I washed my hands before we started, and since I'm doing an individual one, just kind of like you are in your dorm, obviously no need to wear gloves. If you're serving people like Marissa's making a big bowl of pudding, that's when you want to be a little more cautious and wear gloves, just like we do here.
Right. I am going to just slice my bananas, and I'm going to be honest, I only have 1 banana. I don't think 1 banana is going to be enough for my bowl. It's going to be a little small, but we will make it work for today.
Perfect.
So then, am I taking, oh, I thought I was stealing Paige's stuff. So we're just going to lay this down, and when you lay it down in the bottom, 2 ways you could do this. You could just do it layer by layer, so you put a layer of vanilla wafers down, and then a layer of pudding, a layer of bananas, and then wafers, or you can make it really pretty. Take the brown side, make sure the round side is out, facing out. It'll make your life much easier when you're trying to put the pudding in there. Kind of do it like that.
Ooh.
And then I'm going to pour.
I may do like a combination of all of these.
You can do whatever you want, Paige. Same thing with all you guys out there. We're showing you the basics of how to do this, but everybody has something that's a little special to them, a little near and dear. You do it your way. I'm going to take the bananas.
I feel like I'm like building a little fort.
That's pretty much what you're doing.
Little banana pudding fort.
I'm going to put a little more banana on there.
Oh, I forgot the bananas.
That's okay.
The most important part of the bag. I got
That's
too
okay. You
excited
can
with
put the bananas
wafers.
on there. You have enough.
You have gloves on, so I'm gonna let you sprinkle some in there. Perfect.
We'll throw a little more in there. And then I'm going to do another layer. And I don't have quite enough layers of. I'm short on my wafers.
Do you want me to share?
Could you? Thank you. I'm still a little short, but we'll be all right. All right, then I'm going to put a little more pudding on the top.
Could you crush up the wafers and do like more of like a crust in there, if that makes sense?
You could. I don't think it's going to taste the same because part of the thing is you let the banana pudding sit and those wafers get really soft.
Okay.
So some other things that you could do if you don't want to go with the traditional vanilla wafers, try biscuits. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. When you bake your biscuits off, put a little cinnamon sugar on the top of it and then cut it in half and layer biscuits for your banana pudding. You could do pound cake instead of doing vanilla wafers.
I feel like cinnamon graham crackerish, something with cinnamon would be really good.
There's all sorts of different things you can
I'm
do.
gonna let you put some bananas on top there.
You got it. Woo! Then I'm gonna take a little light whipped cream, which I'm gonna fall a little short on mine, but that's all right. So I'm gonna borrow some of Paige's bananas.
I don't know if I have much more whipped cream, or you said your bananas were short.
No, I'm good. We're good. We're gonna make this work. It just shows how you can make things the way you want to make them.
Exactly.
All right, and there you have it. You have your scratch-made banana pudding, and then you have your instant version. Either one, both are really easy to make, really easy to impress everybody with.
Yep, this is something you could easily bring home and do. And like Chef and I have been saying, you can easily make this your own. So if you want to do healthier versions, homemade versions, instant versions, it's whatever works best for you. That's the great thing about food and culinary is that it's so personalized.
Absolutely. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you're going to have yourself a little treat of banana pudding here. And hopefully also soon we'll get to see you in person.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.